Hi guys, we want to continue our reading journey, and today's story is Sisters of the Golden Circle. Let's begin. The Rubberneck after was about ready to start. The married top riders have been assigned to their seats by the gentlemanly conductor. The sidewalk was blockaded with sightseers who had gathered to stare at sightseers, justifying the natural law that every creature on the earth is preyed upon by some other creature. The megaphone man raised his instrument of torture. The inside of the great automobile began to thump and throb, like the heart of a coffee drinker. The top riders nervously clung to the seats. The old lady from Valparaiso, Indiana, shrieked, shrieked, shrieked to be put ashore. But before Will turns, listen to a brief pream preamble. Though the cardiophone, cardiophone, which shall point out to you an object of interest or life's sightseeing tour. Swift and comprehensive is the recognition of white men for white men in African wilds. Instant and sure is the spiritual greeting between mother and baby. Unhesitatingly do master, unhesitatingly do master and dog commune across the slight gulf between animal and man. Immeasurably, immeasurably, immeasurably quick and sapient are the brief messages between one and one's beloved. But all these instances set forth only slow and groping interchange of sympathy and thought beside one other instance which the Rubberneck coach shall disclose. You shall learn, if you have not learned already, who two beings of all earth's living inhabitants most quickly look into each other's hearts and souls when they meet face to face. The gong, the gong whirred, and the Garling at Gotham car moved majestically upon its unrestricted tour. On the highest rear seat was James Williams of Cloverdale, Missouri, and his bride. Capitalized friend typo. That that last word of words in the epiphany, epiphany of life and love. The scent of the flowers, the beauty of the bee, the primal dip of spring waters, the overture of the lark, the twist of lemon peel on the cocktail of creation, such is the bride. Holy is the wife, revered to the mother. Galip Gallictus is the summer girl, but the bride is a certified check among the wedding presents that the gods send in when man is married to mortality. The car glided up the Golden Way. On the bridge of the great cruiser, the captain stood, trumpeting the sights of the big city to his passengers. Wide mounted at open earth, they heard the sights of the metropolis thundered for their eyes. Confused, delirious, within excitement and provincial longings, they tried to make ocular responses to the megaphonic ritual. In the solemn spears of spreading cathedrals, cathedrals, they saw the home of the Vanderbilts in the busy bulk of the Grand Central Depot. They viewed wonderingly the frigate code of Russell Sage. Bidden to observe the highlands of the Hudson, they gaped unsuspecting at the upturned mountains of the new laid sewer. To many, the elevated railroad was the railto, on the stations of which uniformed men sat and made suey, chop suey of your tickets. And to this day, in the outlying districts, may have it that John Connors, with his hand on his heart, let's reform, and that, but for the noble municipal efforts of the Parkhurst, a district attorney, the notorious Bishop Potter gang would have destroyed law and or, order from the Bowery to the Harlem River. But I beg you to observe Mr. James Williams. Hetty Chalmers, that was once the belly of Cloverdale, pale blue in the brides, if she will. In this color she had honored, willingly had the most rosebud lawned to her cheeks of its pink, and as for the violet, her eyes will do very well as they are, thank you. A useless strip of white chaff. Oh no, he was gliding he was guiding the autocar of white chiffon, or perhaps it was a grenadine or two, was tied beneath his chin, pretend, pretending to hold her bonnet in place. But you know as well as I do that the hardpins did the work. And on Mrs. James Williams' face was recorded a little library of the world's best thoughts in 3 volumes. Volume number 1 contained the belief that James Williams was about the right sort of thing. Volume number 2 was an essay of the world, declaring it to be a very excellent place. Volume number 3 disclosed the belief that in occupying the highest seat in the Rubberneck after they were traveling the pace that passes all understanding. James Williams, you would have guessed, was about 24. It was it will gratify you. It will gratify you to know that your estimate was so accurate. He was exactly 23 years, 11 months, and 29 days old. He was well built, active, strong jade, good natured, and rising. He was on his wedding trip. Dear, dear kind fairy, please cut out those orders for money and for 40 horsepower touring cars and frame and the new growth of hair and the presidency of the boat club. Instead of any of them, turn backward. Oh, turn backward and give just a 20 weeny, teeny weeny bit of our wedding trip over again. Just an hour, dear fairy, so we can remember how the grass and poplar trees looked, and the bow of those bonnet springs tied beneath her chin, even if it was the hat pins that did the work. Can't do it very well. Hurry up with that touring car and the oil stock then. Just in front of Mr. James Williams sat a girl in a loose tan jacket and straw hat adorned with grapes and roses. Only in dreams, in and milliners' shops we do we, alas, gather grapes and roses and at one swipe. That girl, glazed with the large blue eyes, credulous when the megaphone man roared his doctrine that millionaires were things about which we should be concerned. Between blasts, she resorted the Epictet, Epictetean philosophy in the form of pepsin chewing gum. At this girl's right hand sat a young man, about 24. He was well built, active, strong-jawed, and good-natured. But if his description seems to follow that on James Williams, the west it of anything Clovedalian. This man belonged to hard streets and sharp corners. He looked keenly about him, seeming to back begrudge the asphalt under the feet of those upon whom he looked down from his perch. While the megaphone barks at famous hostelry, let me whisper you though, through the low-turned cardiophone, low-tuned cardiophone, to sit tight. For now, things are about to happen, and the great city will close over them again as over a scrap of ticker tape floating down from the den of a Broad Street beer. The girl in the tan jacket twisted around to view the pilgrims on the last seat. The all other passengers she had absorbed. The seat behind her was her Bluebird's chambers. Her eyes met those of Mrs. Williams. Between two ticks of which they exchanged their life's experiences, histories, hopes, and fancies. And all, mind you, with the eye before two men could have decided whether to draw, steal, or borrow a match. The bride leaned forward low. She, she and the girl spoke rapidly together, their, their tongues moving quickly, like those of two serpents, a comparison that is not meant to go further. Two smiles and dozen nods closed the confidence. And now in the broad, quiet avenue in front of the rubberneck car, a man in dark clothes stood with uplifted hand. From the sidewalk, another hurried to join him. The girl in the fruitful hat quickly seized her her companion by the arm and whispered in his ear. That young man exhibited proof of the ability to act promptly. Crouching low, he slid over the edge of the car, hung lightly for an instant, and then disappeared. Half a dozen of the top riders absorbed his feet wonderingly, but made no comment, deeming it prudent not to express surprise at at what might be conventional manner of alighting alighting in this bewilder bewildering city. The truant passenger the truant passenger dodged a hansom a hansom and then floated past like a leaf on a stream between a furniture van and the florist's delivery wagon. The girl in the tan jacket turned again and looked in the eyes of Mr. James Williams. Then she faced about and sat still white, while the rubberneck after stopped at the flash of the banger bad badger, the flash of the badger under the coat of the clothes man. What's eating you? Demanded the megaphonist, abandoning his professional discourse of pure English. Keep her at anchor for a minute, ordered the officer. There is a man on a board, on board. We want a Philadelphia burglar called Pinky McGuire. There he is on the back seat. Look out for the side, Donovan. Donovan went to the hind wheel and looked up at James Williams. Calm down, old sports, he said pleasantly. We've got you. Back to Sleepy Town for yours. It ain't a bad idea hiding on a rubberneck, though. I'll remember that. Softly, through the megaphone came the advice of the conductor. Better step off, sir, and explain. The car must process on its tour. James Williams belonged among the level heads. With necessary slowness, he picked his way through the passengers down to the steps at the front of the car. His wife followed, but she first turned her eyes and saw the escaped tourist glide from behind the Furni- furniture van and slip behind a tree on the edge of a little park, not 50 feet away. Descended to the ground, James Williams faced his captors with a smile. He was thinking what a good story he would have to tell in Cloverdale about having having been mistaken for a burglar. The Rubberneck coach lingered out out of respect for its patrons. What could be a more interesting sight than this? My name is James Williams of Cloverdale, Missouri, he said kindly, so that they would not be too greatly mortified. I have letters here that will show. You will come with us, please, announced the plainclothes man. Pinky, McGuire's description fits you like a flannel washed in hot suits. A detective saw you on the Rubberneck up at Central Park and phoned down to take you in. Do your explaining at the station house. James Williams' wife, his bride of 2 weeks, looked at him in the face with a strange, soft radiance in her eyes and a flush on her cheeks. Looked at him in the face and said, "Go with them, quietly, Pinky, and maybe it will be in your favor." And then, as the Glaring and Gotham car rolled away, she turned and threw a kiss of threw a kiss. His wife threw a kiss at someone high up on the seat of the Rubberneck. Your girl gives you a good advice, McGuire, said Donovan. Come on now. And then madness descended upon the occupied James Williams. He pushed his he pushed his head far upon the back of his head. My wife seems to think I'm a burglar, he said recklessly. I never heard of her being crazy, therefore I must be. And if I'm crazy, they can do anything to me for killing you two fools in my madness. Whereupon, whereupon he resisted arrest so cheerfully and indus industriously that cops had to be whistled for. And afterwards, the reserves to disperse disperse a few thousand delayed spectators. At the station house, the desk sergeant asked for his name. MacDoodle, the Pink, or Pinky, the Brute. I forget which was James Williams' answer. But you can bet I'm a burglar. Don't leave that out. And you might add that it took 5 of them to plug the and the pink. I would especially like to have that in the records. In an hour came in an hour came Mrs. James Williams with Uncle Thomas of Madison Avenue in a respect compelling motor car and proofs of the hero's innocence. For all the world like the third act of a drama backed by an automobile MFG co. MFG.co. After the police had sternly reprimanded James Williams for imitating a copyrighted burglar and giving him a, as honorable a discharge as the department was capable of. Mr. Williams, Mrs. Williams rearrested him and swept him into an angle of the station house. James Williams regarded her with one eye. He always said that Donovan closed the other while somebody was holding his good right hand. Never before a, had he given her a record of reproach or of reproof. If you can explain, he began rather stiffly. Why you, dear, she interrupted. Listen, it was an hour's pain and trial to you. I did it for her. I mean, the girl who spoke to me, on the couch. I was so happy, Jim, so happy with you that I didn't dare to refuse that happiness to another. Jim, they were married only this morning, those two, and I wanted him to get away. While they were struggling with you, I saw him slip from behind his tree and hurry across the park. That's all of it, dear. I had to do it. Thus does one sister of the plain gold bent, no another who stands in the enchanted hand light that shines but once and briefly for each one. By rice and satin bows, those by rice and satin bows, does mere man become aware of weddings. But bride knoweth bright at the glance of an eye, and between them swiftly passes comfort and meaning in a language that a man and widows want what not of. All right, still difficult. But anyway, see you tomorrow. Thank you for listening to me.